Welcome to Mornings with Patty, in which I read from one of 6 daily meditation books. I share a passage each day. I give you my take on it. If you like this kind of content, please like, follow, subscribe below. You can even make a comment. Today I'm reading from One Day at a Time, and it's July 26th, and the topic is something we've revisited before. It's about keeping your mouth shut. The simplest and most difficult of all the slogans in the world is the word think. Before you say something, is it thoughtful, honest, important, necessary, and kind? We seem to be thinking hard all the time, but it is mostly about our troubles and who's to blame for our troubles. We can't seem to get around to thinking about what we may be doing that damages us. One word to think about that we do: retaliation. Have I ever thought in some form or another, conscious or unconscious, I'll fix him for that, or I'll pay her back for what she did? Do I seek relief from my resentment by retaliation instead of forgiving somebody? If a person hurts me without being aware of it and I can overlook it, my reward is an inner glow. If there is somebody who's really angry at me and expresses his self-hatred in strong language directed at me, I know it has no validity, so I can ignore it. Before I take any action or speak any hot words, I will think about what provoked me into this impulse. If I can persuade myself not to act or speak, I can quietly and inwardly rejoice that my higher power gave me the grace to be silent. What shall it profit a man to be right if he makes an enemy? So yeah, you can be right and you can make enemies, and a lot of y'all do that. I know that because I've experienced it. Many years ago, I was given some golf clubs, and I was practicing hitting the golf ball for the first time, and I was sorely frustrated and pissed off and angry, and I kept swinging, and I had my partner with me, and I was screaming and yelling and frustrated, and I finally took the golf club and I threw it down, and my partner came over and he held me. He held me in love, and I never had that experience before. Usually when I'm yelling, every time I yell, somebody yells back at me, but this was a totally different, unexpected response of love. And in that moment, I had this vision of me as a teacher. I was a teacher at the time, and how I was yelling and screaming at my students to just get under control, and how this contrast of love versus this contrast of being angry all the time, and how I could change, and how unproductive and unloving it was to my students to be screaming at them. And I was like, wow. And it was so impactful that it changed my life, that I wanted to be a more loving and safe person for my students and for my family and my friends. It was amazing. So that's one example of what one can do when one is under attack of our own craziness. You know, also, I just want to mention, I've seen a couple of videos of 2 people who had guns, and they were about ready to go into a school and shoot up people. And there was a teacher, 2 teachers, one in each episode, just loved that person who had a gun and stopped violence. It was incredible. And that's what we do. It's like how to meet people in love. One of my biggest challenges this year earlier was I was exiting a room of people, and there was a woman who apparently has a lot of animosity and anger towards me, and she sees me as I'm walking out of the room, and she says, "Oh my God." She has an entourage around her. She says, "Oh my God, there goes Patty Brick. Ah! Ah!" And that energy came towards me, but I had a choice, and that choice, I couldn't retaliate in the same way. I wouldn't. I chose not to. And I couldn't be thoughtful, honest, important, necessary, and kind. I couldn't get to that point. So instead of addressing it and making the situation worse, I just walked away and sent love to that person. And that's kind of what happens. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, we always have a moment of choice. And you are the one responsible for making that choice of not replying, of if you're going to reply, is it thoughtful, honest, important, necessary, and kind? Retaliation is so unloving, and I want you to remember this, that this is my thing, and I want it to be your thing, that to be loving inside of me, to respond in love, is how we change the world. If we're loving inside of us, the world around us is going to be loving around us. So instead of retaliating and being angry and frustrated and pissed off, try to find a little forgiveness, try to let that person off the hook, because I promise you, for the most part, people don't really mean it. So make this world a better place and a more loving place today. I love you.